Hello and welcome back to the Deep Dive. So glad you could join us today.
Great to be here.
And just a quick note, this Deep Dive is brought to you by our YouTube channel, English in 5 Minutes with AI.
That's right.
So today we're kind of doing things a little differently. We're not just rehashing all those common study tips you see everywhere, the ones that make you feel busy but don't really seem to move the needle much.
Yeah, we're aiming deeper.
Exactly. We want to dig into what experienced test takers and, experts are saying actually works. We're going to uncover some honestly surprising truths about why maybe some popular methods, they might be failing you.
It can be quite counterintuitive sometimes.
Definitely. So stay with us until the end. To learn these things, you might discover a really different, maybe more effective way to tackle your prep.
Yeah, stick around.
And hey, while you're here, we'd be really glad if you hit that like button and subscribe. It helps us out a lot.
It really does.
Okay, let's jump right in then. Our mission today really is to explore how you can genuinely build the skills you need to, ace those English proficiency tests.
We're looking at insights from people who've been through it, people who analyze it.
Yeah, looking at stuff that gets into the common mistakes, the pitfalls, but also the successful strategies across all the sections: writing, speaking, reading, listening.
And the big takeaway that sort of emerged, it's maybe less about finding secret tricks,
Right.
and much more about developing real, authentic English communication skills, which, when you think about it, is what the tests are supposed to be measuring anyway.
That makes total sense. So, okay, let's start by unpacking the things that, maybe don't work so well. The common traps.
The don'ts.
Exactly, the don'ts. So, for the writing section, especially essays, what kind of ineffective advice kept cropping up?
Well, one big one that came up repeatedly is using questionable sample essays from random websites. You just don't know if they're actually good, right?
You have no idea what score they'd get?
Exactly. But maybe more surprising for a lot of people is the advice around brainstorming. Some sources actually call it a significant waste of time.
Wait, brainstorming? But that's like standard advice. Why is it seen as ineffective?
Well, think about the test conditions. It's timed. Brainstorming, the way it's often taught, just takes too long.
Oh.
And the ideas you come up with might be too vague or not specific enough to actually answer the exact question being asked.
So it's not focused enough for the task?
Precisely. Instead of trying to list every single possibility, the effective thing seems to be finding one simple, relevant idea you can support clearly.
Okay, focused execution over just generating tons of ideas. Gotcha. What about trying to sound super academic, using really complex words?
Oh, that often backfires. Terribly.
Hey.
Yeah. Trying to impress the examiner with fancy vocabulary you aren't 100% sure how to use, that just leads to mistakes. Using words out of context, incorrect grammar.
And mistakes cost points.
Big time. It's much, much better to use simpler words correctly than complex ones incorrectly. Accuracy really is king here.
Okay. And I guess that ties into that old advice about never repeating a word.
Exactly. That's another pitfall. People get so worried about repeating that they force in really awkward synonyms. Or worse, synonyms that don't quite mean the right thing.
Yeah, I can see that happening.
If repeating a word is the clearest, most accurate way to say something, then just do it. Clarity and accuracy beat awkward variation every time.
What else for writing? Planning. Is that important?
Oh, absolutely crucial. Starting to write without a clear plan, like how you'll structure your argument, how you'll answer the question, it just leads to rambling and disorganization.
And you can't just change your mind halfway through, right?
Definitely not. You need to decide on your main answer, your position, and stick to it. Plan first, then write.
Okay. And this idea of needing a hook in the intro to grab the examiner.
Forget it. Seriously. They're paid to read your essay. They will read it. No hook needed. And same goes for memorizing, like stock phrases or proverbs or quotes.
Yeah.
Examiners spot that stuff easily. It sounds fake, and it doesn't show your ability to think and write in English.
Okay. And one last writing don't when paraphrasing the question.
Yeah. Be careful not to add information that wasn't actually in the original prompt. You're just supposed to rephrase it in your own words, not embellish it.
Got it. Okay, let's shift gears. Speaking. What traps do people fall into in the speaking test?
A huge one is memorizing answers, especially for those part 1 questions, the sort of get-to-know-you ones.
People try to script those.
Yeah, and examiners are trained to detect it. It sounds rehearsed, unnatural. They want to hear you actually communicating, not reciting.
So don't pre-script everything. Makes sense.
Exactly. And for part 2, where you get the topic card, Relying too rigidly on just hitting those bullet points can make you sound stiff.
Like you're reading a list.
Yeah, it's meant to be a guide, not a script. And another thing, don't stress too much about having like incredibly profound ideas or deep knowledge on the topic.
Oh, that was interesting.
It's a test of your speaking, your ability to communicate, not a test of your general knowledge. Focus on showing how well you can express yourself, even if the ideas themselves are fairly simple.
Communicate clearly. That's the goal.
Yeah.
Okay. How about reading? What are the common slip-ups there?
Well, a big one is trying to use the exact same strategy for every single question type.
Like using a true-false approach for matching headings.
Exactly. They require different skills, different steps. Matching headings needs one approach, true, false, not given needs another, multiple choice another. You need specific strategies.
And what about time management in reading? Everyone worries about speed.
Right, and the pitfall is thinking you can just get faster by focusing only on speed tips.
Like timing yourself aggressively.
Yeah, but trying to improve reading speed just through tips is kind of like, well, like telling Usain Bolt he'll get faster with time management advice instead of, actually training to run better.
Okay, good analogy.
Reading speed improves because you get better at reading. You improve your skills, skimming, scanning, understanding vocabulary, knowing the right strategy. That's what makes you faster and more accurate.
So skill development leads to better time management, not the other way around.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And a really basic but surprisingly common error.
What's that?
Just not reading the instructions properly.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Like writing 3 words when it says no more than 2-0.
Exactly. Or writing out a word when the instruction was to choose a letter, like A, B, or C. Simple points just thrown away.
Ouch. That hurts.
And if you keep getting the same type of question wrong again and again, that's a huge red flag. It means you haven't nailed down the specific strategy needed for that question type.
You need to figure out why it's going wrong.
Definitely.
Okay, last section for pitfalls listening. What are the traps there?
Well, the biggest one, honestly, is just not doing enough listening practice, period.
Just not putting the hours in.
Right. But even when people do practice, it's often too passive. Having a podcast on while cooking or watching a movie with popcorn. You're not actively engaging with the language.
Just letting it wash over you.
Exactly. Another trap is only listening to super slow, clearly articulated English. Maybe textbook audio?
Because real life isn't like that?
Not at all. Real spoken English and the English on the test uses connected speech. Words blend together, sounds change. If you only practice with slow, perfect audio, you won't be ready for the real thing.
Right. Need to get used to natural speed and rhythm.
And crucially, during the actual test, don't panic if you miss a question or don't understand something. Don't get stuck.
Because you'll miss the next ones?
Yes. If you're dwelling on question 5, you'll completely miss questions 6, 7, and 8. Make your best guess, move on, stay focused on what's coming next.
Good advice. Okay, so beyond the specific sections, any general preparation habits that hold people back?
Oh, definitely. A major one is just doing practice test after practice test after practice test.
Without analyzing them.
Exactly. Without figuring out why you made mistakes or getting any feedback. You can just end up practicing your mistakes, reinforcing bad habits.
Like playing a song wrong over and over again.
Right.
Just get really good at playing it wrong.
Perfect analogy. And this next one, wow. It was cited as maybe the #1 reason students fail.
Okay.
Booking the test before you're consistently hitting the score you need in your practice runs.
Oh, that adds so much pressure.
Immense pressure. And it often leads to failing, having to rebook, wasting time, wasting money. Wait until your practice scores show you're ready.
Makes sense. What else?
Focusing only on vocab lists. Just memorizing words in isolation without learning how to use them accurately in context.
Yeah, knowing the definition isn't the same as knowing how to use it in a sentence.
Not at all. And a big mindset trap. Seeing feedback or criticism as a personal attack.
Instead of seeing it as helpful.
Exactly. Feedback is gold. It tells you precisely what you need to work on. If you get defensive, you block that opportunity to improve. And finally, just, expecting results overnight. Believing there's some magic tip or shortcut. Real improvement takes time and consistent, focused work.
No magic bullets.
Nope.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of don'ts. Let's flip it. What does work? Based on these insights, What are the effective strategies, the mindset shifts that actually make a difference?
Well, the absolute biggest thing is that mindset shift we touched on earlier. It's understanding the test is really about your ability to communicate in English.
Not just about gaming the test.
Right. So your preparation needs to focus on actually learning to write better, speak more clearly, read more effectively, listen more actively, building the genuine skill, not just memorizing test tricks.
Okay, so build a skill and the score will follow. Let's go back to writing then. If traditional brainstorming is out, what's the better way to generate ideas?
Okay, so instead of that wide open brainstorm, look at the specific question. Then think of your own simple, relevant ideas that directly answer it.
Keep it focused.
Yes. And choose the idea you feel you can support most easily and clearly. One tip here is maybe look at sample questions online, cover up the sample answer, and practice generating your own simple, direct ideas first.
Okay, good practical tip. And once you have that simple idea, how do you build it out effectively in the essay?
Structure is absolutely vital. For, say, a Task 2 essay, a really clear, solid structure works best. You need an introduction, paraphrase the question, briefly state your main point or answer, then your main body paragraphs. Each one needs a clear topic sentence stating its main point. Then you need a full explanation, and this is key. You have to explain it so clearly that you anticipate any questions a reader might have.
Because they can't ask you follow-up questions.
Exactly. You have to preempt those questions in your explanation. Then provide a clear example to support your point. And finally, a conclusion that basically summarizes or paraphrases your introduction.
That emphasis on the explanation being really thorough is interesting.
It's crucial. You're demonstrating your ability to develop an argument fully and logically, assuming the reader needs everything spelled out.
Okay. And what about examples? Do they need to be like real facts and figures?
Not necessarily. What the sources suggest is that the examiners want to see, how to use an example effectively to support a point.
So the skill of using an example matters more than the example itself.
Pretty much. You could even potentially make up a believable example like, recent research conducted in my country indicated that, or something similar if you don't have a specific fact handy. It's about showing you can apply that element of essay writing.
Okay, so simple ideas, clear structure, really deep explanations, and knowing how to use examples, and always aiming for accuracy.
Absolutely. Keep it simple, keep it clear, keep it accurate. Don't be afraid to repeat a word if it's the right word. Plan before you write, and always leave time to proofread at the end.
Everyone makes mistakes.
Everyone. Catching those little grammar slips or awkward phrasings makes a real difference. And maybe read other students' essays for ideas, or read newspapers that implicitly helps with grammar and how ideas are expressed.
Good points. Okay, moving to effective speaking strategies. If memorizing answers is bad, what should the focus be?
Natural communication. That's the goal. Try to speak like you're talking to a friend or maybe a colleague. Just aim for clear expression.
And focusing on that helps everything else.
It really does. When you focus on just communicating clearly, your fluency tends to improve, your grammar use becomes more natural, your vocabulary choices fit better, even pronunciation can improve because you're not trying to sound like someone else.
How can you practice that effectively, though, outside of, just talking to people?
Okay, a really powerful technique recommended is recording yourself.
Ooh. The dreaded recording.
I know, it feels awkward. But record your answers to practice questions. Then, and this is the important part, listen back critically.
Your own examiner.
Sort of, yeah. It's incredibly valuable feedback. You'll hear your own ums and uhs, your pauses. If you try transcribing it, you might spot pronunciation issues. You'll notice where you repeat words or struggle to find the right vocabulary. You'll hear your own grammar mistakes.
That sounds uncomfortable, but I can see how useful it would be. Direct feedback on your own speech.
It's tough, but so effective because it highlights your specific weak points. For part 2, the advice is, figure out your main point or story, and then just talk naturally about it. Keep going until the examiner stops you. Practice doing that talking for 2 minutes straight on various topics. Don't just rigidly follow the bullet points.
Just use them as a guidepost.
Exactly. And for part 3, the discussion part. A simple, effective structure is often, answer the question directly first, then explain why you think that, and finally, give an example to illustrate your point. Answer, explain, example. Helps keep you organized under pressure.
Answer, explain, example. Got it. Okay, what about effective reading strategies?
Key thing here is, have a specific step-by-step strategy for each question type, and practice applying it consistently until it's automatic.
So not a one-size-fits-all approach.
Definitely not. For instance, matching headings. A really effective method is read the paragraph first, Understand it. Then, in your own words, think, what's the main idea here? What would my heading be? Then look at the list of provided headings and find the one that best matches yours.
Instead of reading the headings first and getting confused.
Exactly. It saves time and reduces confusion caused by distracting options.
Okay, smart. And for true, false, not given.
That needs a different strategy. Read the statements first. Understand what they're claiming. Then scan the text specifically looking for the part that relates to each statement. Don't just read the whole text linearly hoping to find the answers in order.
Target your reading.
Yes. And remember what we said about time management. It comes from improving your reading skill. Practice skimming to get the gist quickly, practice scanning to find specific names or numbers, and practice detailed reading to understand complex sentences.
And vocabulary.
Crucial for reading. Build your vocabulary, especially understanding synonyms. This helps you find the information faster because the text might use different words than the question. It also helps you choose the right answer in multiple choice if you understand the nuances between word meanings. Try guessing new words from context as you practice.
Makes sense. Okay, listening strategies. What works beyond just listen more?
Active listening. It's essential. Don't just have audio playing. Really engage. Take notes, maybe on new words or main ideas. Try to predict what might come next. Guess the meaning of unfamiliar words from the context.
Be an active participant, not passive.
Exactly. And one very specific technique is called micro-listening. This means listening to really short chunks of audio, maybe just one or two sentences over and over again.
Oh, I do that.
To really tune your ear into connected speech, how words link together, how sounds change. You can even try mimicking those short segments yourself. It's great for improving your own pronunciation and rhythm.
Breaking it down to really hear the details. I like that.
Yeah, and you need to build focus. The listening test requires sustained concentration, like a muscle. So practice focusing intently for short periods at first, maybe just a minute or two, and gradually increase the duration.
Train your attention span.
Right. Some people find things like meditation can actually help improve overall concentration, which benefits listening focus too. And like we said before, don't get stuck. If you miss an answer, guess and move on immediately. Protects the subsequent questions.
Don't let one missed point cost you 3 more.
Precisely.
Okay, so wrapping up the strategies, what's the big picture? The overall approach to preparation that seems most effective.
It really comes down to a kind of cycle, a positive feedback loop. Learn, get feedback, learn again.
Okay, break that down.
You need to first learn the effective strategies, like the ones we've discussed. Then you need to do them, put them into practice. Then, and this is vital, you need to get feedback on how you did.
From a teacher or self-correction.
Both are valuable. Teacher feedback is great for spotting things you miss, especially subtle grammar or pronunciation issues. Self-critique, like recording yourself speak or analyzing your reading mistakes, is also powerful. The point is, you need that feedback step. Then you learn from that feedback to adjust and improve your approach for the next practice session.
Learn, do, get feedback, learn. Okay.
Without that feedback loop, you're just practicing without knowing if you're getting better or just reinforcing errors.
And sometimes you really do need that outside expert eye, right?
Oh, absolutely. Especially for grammar or for writing and speaking, where it's hard to judge your own work objectively. It's like if your car is making a weird noise, you could try fixing it yourself, but a mechanic will probably find the problem much faster.
Good point. Find a good mechanic for your English. And how should you structure practice itself?
Think about 2 types, slow practice and fast practice. When you're learning a new strategy, use slow practice. Don't worry about the clock. Just focus on applying each step correctly.
Nail the technique first.
Exactly. Then, when you want to test yourself under exam conditions, use fast practice. Time yourself. Focus on both speed and accuracy.
Got it.
And use that feedback to pinpoint your specific recurring weaknesses. Is it always articles? Is it third person's as in the present tense? Spelling? Forgetting to read instructions. Identify those patterns and then systematically drill down on improving those specific things.
Targeted improvement.
Yeah.
Not just general practice.
Yes. And finally, mindset again. It's so important. Focus on the process of getting better each day, not just obsessing over the final score.
Enjoy the journey. Well, maybe not enjoy.
Maybe. But focus on the daily work, learning a new word, understanding a grammar point, getting clearer in your explanations. Trust that consistent effort in those fundamental skills will lead to the result you want.
And find your why. Definitely.
Connect your test preparation to your bigger life goals. Why are you doing this? Moving abroad, better job, helping your family, accessing education. Keeping that bigger why in mind provides powerful, sustainable motivation.
Keeps you going when it gets tough.
Exactly. And be honest with yourself. Know your real level, acknowledge your weaknesses, don't pretend you understand something if you don't. Ask questions, seek clarification, and ultimately, remember it's all about communication. Focus on being clear, being understood. That's the fundamental skill the test is assessing.
Wow. Okay. That's a lot of really practical, actionable advice. So bringing this back to you, our listener, the message seems clear. By avoiding those common traps we talked about, the dodgy samples, the aimless brainstorming, the rote memorization, the passive listening, and instead adopting these proven strategies, the structured approach, the focus on explanation, the active listening, the self-critique, the targeted practice, and shifting your mindset, you can genuinely make your preparation way more effective.
More focused, maybe less stressful in the long run, too.
Yeah. Because real improvement, it seems, comes from changing how you study and really dedicating yourself to building those core communication skills guided by solid feedback.
It's about working smarter, based on what actually yields results, not just spinning your wheels doing things that feel productive but aren't.
Right. So to kind of wrap things up, achieving that score you need isn't really about finding some hidden secret or trick.
No magic wand, unfortunately.
No, it's about, well, embracing effective strategies for each part of the test, actively seeking out and actually learning from feedback on your work, being honest about your weak spots and working diligently on them, and really cultivating that mindset focused on clear communication and consistent daily strategic effort.
That's the path that consistently seems to work for people who reach their goals. It's about the process.
So here's a thought for you to take away. What's maybe one ineffective study habit you're doing now, based on our chat today, that you could perhaps stop?
And maybe flip that, what's one effective strategy we talked about that you could start applying maybe even tomorrow?
Just one small change, one adjustment. Think about what that might be for you.
Because those small, consistent adjustments, done strategically, that's where the real progress happens.
Absolutely. Well, we are really glad you tuned in for this deep dive today. We sincerely hope these insights give you a clearer picture and maybe some renewed energy for your preparation.
Yeah, hope it was helpful.
And if you did find it valuable, please do consider hitting that like button and subscribing to the channel.
It helps us keep bringing these deep dives to more learners just like you.
And remember, this deep dive was brought to you by our YouTube channel, English in 5 Minutes with AI.
Check it out if you haven't already.
Thanks so much for joining us, and goodbye for now.
Bye, everyone.